of Sussex live channel episode, and today is the 31st of December 2020, the last day of this awful year. And what better way to kind of end the year and to kind of start the beginning of hopefully a much better year than, of course, Harry and Meghan have decided to properly fully launch their new Archewell website. So, of course, we have known about the website. It's been in existence, but it hasn't properly been launched. It was just like made ready, I suppose you could say, up until the point when it was launched. We now have that, and I haven't taken a look, but I'm going to do a live reaction going onto the site. So, as always, this is a live chat, so I shall be reading as many of your comments and questions as possible. Hopefully people will be dropping in, and you may have seen this website already. You may have been to take a look. It's only literally been launched within the last couple of hours. So here we go. I can see people dropping in. We have 48 people already. Lots of people saying hello. Also, Happy New Year's Eve to everybody. I really do hope you have an amazing time wherever you are, although very different. Here in the UK, we have restrictions, so we can't go out like we normally would. But lots of people will be enjoying, celebrating the coming of hopefully a much better year at home, within their sort of household bubbles. So, without further ado, I am going to show you what I can see already. So, as you can see, I haven't looked, and I have the website there. So I'm going to click on it and see what it's all about. Let's bring it up. Ooh, a letter for 2021, Archewell. Right, okay. Just in case you haven't seen, that's what I can see already. Is that okay? So there's two discs with pictures in. One of them is Harry and Diana in the background, and the other one looks like Doria and Meghan. So, is mothers a theme of the website? It's Harry and Meghan both with their mothers. Okay. Let's read the message. So, let me just get my glasses for a minute so I can read. I am my mother's son. So that's Harry. I am my mother's son, Harry. And I am our son's mother, which must be Meghan. Together we bring you Archewell. We believe in the best of humanity because we have seen the best of humanity. We have experienced compassion and kindness from our mothers and strangers alike. So mothers is a theme. In the face of fear, struggle and pain, it can be easy to lose sight of this. Together we can choose courage, healing and connection. Together we can choose to put compassion in action. We invite you to join us, and we work to build a better world, as we work to build a better world. One act of compassion at a time. Okay, so I'm sensing two themes here, the themes of mothers and compassion. So are Harry and Meghan highlighting where they have felt the most compassion from in their lives, or who has displayed the most compassion in their lives? By the two, if you link the words of what they've said with the two pictures in the discs, it kind of looks like Harry is saying that either he views the most compassionate person that he's known in his life as his mother. Also, it could be that he has felt the most compassion from his mother. The same could be said for Meghan. Maybe she thinks the most compassionate person she knows or that she has in her life is her mother, and the most compassionate person is her mother that she knows, who has shown compassion. That could be why. When I was first reading it, I was thinking, ooh, that's a bit of a strange way to open. I am my mother's son. Is that almost... is it? I don't know, because obviously there's no mention of fathers. So Meghan's not mentioning Thomas. Harry isn't mentioning Charles. But they're linking those kind of motherhood figures to compassion. Right, I'm going to just stop and go to the comment section here. Let me know, guys, what you think about literally what I've just kind of read, I suppose. Lots of people dropping in already. Nancy says, where do I go to see it? Oh, I'll give you the link right here. Sorry, I should have given you the link right here. I will link to the website in the description once I've gone off live. But there you go. There is a link. You can go there and take a look. Mary says, courage, healing, connection and compassion. God, I love them. And Dolores says, I've seen it. It's a tribute to their mothers. It's a beautiful and requires no explanation. I agree. But at the same time, I am my mother's son. So is he saying he's not his father's son? Or is he saying he's more his mother's son than his father's son? It's a very kind of, it's okay. It's an opening statement and it is a statement. I am my mother's son. That is a statement. It's an opening statement that is open to interpretation. And I think there's a danger in having something that's so open to interpretation is because the true meaning of what you mean may be completely taken out of context. And I think that opening sentence, I'm predicting that opening sentence may cause a little bit of drama. Because I don't think people are going to know how to take it. I don't know how to take it. I don't know. We are not inside Harry's head. So we don't know how he meant it. I just think that opening sentence is a little bit controversial, is all I'm saying. Because we don't know we don't know why he put that, is what I'm trying to say. But the sentiments of compassion, of humanity, and kindness, I think are really, really good. I mean, obviously they are all things that we have hoped that we have experienced this year, and that we are hoping that we are going to experience going forward next year, into hopefully a much better year. By the way, it was signed Harry and Meghan. Right, I'm going down to the bottom of the website now. I'll read some of your opinions on that in a moment. Compassion in action, and there's like a swoosh tick. Archewell, for its non-profit work, as well as activations, drives systemic cultural change across all communities. So is that like almost like a brief mission statement? Archewell, for its non-profit work, as well as creative activations, drives systemic cultural change across all communities. Okay. I mean, again, very much open to interpretation. What are the systemic cultural change across all communities? We'll probably get to that in a moment. I mean, there are some links to go into, so I'm imagining that will be explained. I'm going to kind of go down to the bottom of the website before I click on any links. Get involved. How do you, you is underlined, activate compassion in the world? Share your story. So they are inviting you to share your story. Shall I click on it and see what comes up? And there is a little box that comes up. How do you activate compassion in the world? We want to hear from you. Tell us about how you or somebody you know acted with compassion in the last year, or describe when you felt connected with your friends, family or community despite the distance. So you can put your name, location, email. There are terms and conditions which you need to tick, and you can share your story. So going back to the podcast, they said that one thing they wanted to do was to share and tell stories. So how are they going to get those stories? Well, you can share your story on the website. So there we go. That's how they're going to do that. There's also a little button at the very bottom to stay up to date. I imagine that is for a mailing list. I'm not going to click on it, but I imagine that's for a mailing list. There is also a button on privacy, which is all about information collection, information use. So you can go on and read all about, how they use your information if you sign anything, or just being on the website through cookies, whatever. So I'm going to click on some of the links. So first of all, the Archewell Foundation. Before I go any further, I'm going to kind of read what people are saying. Dahlia says, don't read so much into it. It's about compassion and where their compassion begins with their mothers. It totally could be. I mean, that most definitely could be the thinking behind Harry and Meghan, but it's a very opening statement, if you catch my drift, that I think it will be analysed. I know you're kind of saying it doesn't need to be analysed so much. It doesn't, but it will be. It's one of those things that people are going to make of it what they want to. And what you said, it may completely be that. It may be that is where they think that their compassion began from. It most definitely could be. Nancy says he's saying he shares the same compassionate nature as his mother. Again, it could be. It could be. Christina says maybe mention Charles at a later date. Again, they may. Lee says I love the opening statement. Dahlia says they have to be careful though, as many will say they are using their royal ties if they explicitly mention Prince Charles. Again, that could be a reason why. But then again, I suppose they're also mentioning his mother, who at the time of her sad passing wasn't of the Princess of Wales. She didn't have a HRH, but was still very, very much kind of thought of in the people's eyes, at least, as a royal member of the family. Nancy says this is awesome. They are both so kind, just like Diana. Lee says I will collect all the information on the trolls. And Lydia says, I'm so excited about the launch. I think the statement is very clear. And Nancy says, following in her footsteps so naturally because that is who they are. CH says, I am my mother's son is an expression meaning he shares certain similarities of his mum, but it's not shade or an omission of his similarities and love Harry has and shares with his dad, Charles. I think it doesn't say that very easily, is what I'm saying. I'm just predicting. I'm predicting that a lot of people are going to take it probably in a way that it wasn't meant. Mercury Angel says both of them have experienced a huge influence with their children, with their mothers. One who was always there, and the other gone too soon, but obviously still being missed. Yeah, that is all there is, and very personal. Mary says they are generous of heart, and they will always look for ways to show compassion. CH is loving my hair, thank you. And Uttarakhand says hello and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, and you're from India. Right, I'm going to carry on. So the Archewell Foundation tab takes you to a window which looks like this, and I'm going to read it for the first time. So Archewell Foundation is an impact-driven non-profit created by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Our core purpose is to uplift and unite communities, local and global, online and offline, one act of compassion at a time. So again, the word compassion, very, very much a theme throughout all of their work at the moment. We believe that compassion is the defining cultural force of the 21st century. And through the work of our 501, then in brackets there's a C3. What's 501c3? Am I missing something? What is that? Why have they got 501 and then in brackets a C and a 3? Please somebody help. What is that? Is it a mistake? Is it something that's been left in? I don't know. I'm sure somebody will enlighten me. And through the work of our 501c3, we support a growing community of partner organisations fueling systemic cultural change. At Archewell Foundation, we listen to people and their communities, help them tell their stories, put real action behind our words, and spotlight a new generation of leadership. Okay? Some of our projects and partnerships. Now we know, I'm just scanning down. We know about the World Central Kitchen already, and I think something was released today as well. I think it was the Dr. Safia Noble that was just released today, but there are some more things. So let's just kind of read through. So some of our projects and partnerships include the Centre for Compassion and Altruism, Research and Education, Stanford Medicine. James R. Doty, MD, is the founder and director of the Centre for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education Care. That's a mouthful. At Stanford Medicine, Dr. Doty is a world-renowned expert on the neuroscience of compassion. Archewell Foundation supports the centre's mission for groundbreaking research and education on techniques for developing compassion and promoting altruism within individuals and society. That's interesting. I mean, again, I really want to kind of know how Archewell Foundation is working with them. Is it money? Is it funding? Because obviously this looks very much like, obviously it's classed as a research and education. So maybe it's funding, maybe they're working funding, maybe there will be projects coming up. I mean, I'm not entirely too clear from that, but that is who they are kind of linking with, and it kind of sets, I think, the tone for the work that they are going to be doing and the areas of interest. Next, we have the Centre for Humane Technology, led by former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris. The Centre for Humane Technology is dedicated to radically reimagining our digital infrastructure. Throughout the past year, Archewell Foundation has actively partnered with Tristan and his team to create conditions for a safer, more compassionate online communities, as we increasingly understand the direct link between technology and its effect on each of us, online and off. Archewell Foundation will continue to prioritise this critical work. So they're saying that the internet, digital, is going to be a priority. Now we know, obviously, Harry and Meghan have encountered lots of online abuse, online hate, and that is one of the things that they feel really passionately about in kind of trying to transform. They kind of, endorsed a campaign, I think it was about against Facebook, for advertisers not advertising with Facebook, until Facebook kind of started to counteract some of the fake news that was being put out there. So we know that Harry and Meghan are very much into making sure that the news that's put out there is real and has basis in truth, really. And again, a more compassionate online community. So kind of being kind, that people are not spreading hate. And I completely agree with that. I have seen throughout my time as a YouTuber, I have seen so much hate from all different directions. We have kind of warring factions, if you like, within the royal community. I mean, I can't speak about lots of other communities, but I do have a very in-depth knowledge of the royal world. And, we've had a period of 18 months or more where there has been kind of warring factions, and people have not been kind on both sides. People have not been compassionate on both sides. People have not been honest on both sides. Lots of opinion as fact, and it's been awful. So I really kind of can get behind that totally. And technology and its effect on each of us, online and off, it can have a big effect with mental health and general well-being. There has been times when I've wanted to take time off from just having the input of hate, just reading all the time, negative, even when you're trying to do something positive, and not even about myself, but about other people. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, it can be awful, sometimes you want to take a break, sometimes it can be too much, sometimes you can have a bit of you need an outlet to kind of get rid of your frustration. Sometimes you can feel really down. I can get behind that one. Before I move on, I've got 3 more to read through. I'm gonna see if there's any comments coming from people already. Let's have a look. Lydia says, I'm so excited about the launch. I think the statement is I've read that one. I'm trying to go down to where I kicked off before. Maddie says, people are just looking for something to be angry about. Then no one can celebrate Mother's Day because it doesn't mention fathers. And Mary says, 501c3 is another name for non-profit. Ah, right. Now I get you. Now it makes sense. For people who aren't in the US, though, that is confusing. That is really confusing. So I was reading it and I was like, is that a mistake? Have they left just a load of random letters in that just doesn't mean anything? Yeah, that is not kind of common knowledge in the UK. So anybody probably not from the USA is probably not going to know what that is and might kind of think that that's a bit odd to put in there. But anyway, Phoebe says it is part of the tax code in US relating to non-profits. Mary says a 501c3 is simply a non-profit. Okay, I think I get that one at the moment. Nancy says they are both bringing such light and healing to the world. It warms my heart so genuinely, just like Diana did. Harry is truly his mother's son, William as well. And Joe Stallworth says, locally, we are so proud of Chef Andre, and we'll get to World Central Kitchen in a moment because I just saw it below. Dolly says, yes, a lot so far has read into it. See, Royal Reporter Chris Ship, Twitter, and you will see the bile. So many bitter people about two people willing to put themselves out there for the greater good. And I haven't read Chris Ship's Twitter today. So I can only imagine what's been put there. But yeah, I mean, as soon as I read that first opening line, I thought, ooh, that can be open to interpretation. And, you know, it's, yeah. And I'm sure it will be, as you're just telling me, it already has been. So I was right to think that. Right. Joe says, I'm very interested in the Centre for Humane Technology. Me too. I have no idea what their kind of projects are, what they're working on. So that would be very interesting to watch. Joe also says they've carefully selected these charities to address human needs. Yes, I agree. They are very human needs in a modern world, because technology is something that we all use these days. So kind of focusing on human needs within a digital world is very, very much a focus, I think, for what we all experience. Mercury Angel says, for having such vile thrown at them, it's nice to see Harry and Meghan rise above this. They truly are strong people who have done nothing to cause grief to the public. I will always be a fan of their work. Nancy says, everything they are striving to bring us is much needed in the world. I am so proud of them, and I'm certain Diana in heaven is as well. Lots of people saying Happy New Year as well. And Sheila says, everyone will hear what they want to hear. A good mind thinks good thoughts and stimulate positive dialogue. Yes, 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 yes. A bad mind will think negative thoughts to stir up controversy. Some are just kind to others. Yeah, I completely 100% agree with that one. Ouku says, this is beautiful and good news. Well done, Meghan and Harry. God keep you safe. I believe they will do well. Good job, guys. Right, I'm going to carry on. So I've got a few more to get through. The Loveland Foundation. Archewell Foundation supports the work of the Loveland Foundation, a growing organisation that focuses on providing affordable and accessible mental health resources to Black women and girls, with a robust network of mental health partnerships across the country. And I'm thinking that is the US. Loveland's Therapy Fund knocks down financial barriers to culturally competent treatment. Together, the Loveland Foundation and Archewell Foundation will continue their shared alignment of supporting marginalised communities. Right, so obviously tackling mental health, very much a continuation of Harry and Meghan's work. And again, I mean, just kind of reading this it highlights, I suppose, the differences between my own country and other countries around the world. We in the UK, I'm sure you've heard about our National Health Service. I mean, it's not perfect. It has its drawbacks, but it has many, many, many positives as well. And one of the things that's really positive about our National Health Service is that it's free at the point of access. We do pay for it in taxation, but it's free to anybody, to everybody, to every single citizen. Nobody is kind of no one is left behind. Everybody has access to it, even those who are non-taxpayers here in the UK. Everyone has access to whatever mental health resources are available. Now, I'm not saying that all of the mental health, that we have enough mental health resources, but everybody has the same access to the ones that we do have. So there's still lots of work needed to get more mental health services and resources here in the UK. But the ones that we do have, everyone has access to. And that kind of makes me feel sad that there are marginalised communities out there in other countries that do not have the same access to the services that are available in those countries. Obviously, Loveland is highlighting that black women and girls, and I think it's important to stress that black women and girls are this kind of group, this marginalised group that do not have access to the mental health facilities above all other groups, is kind of what I think they're saying. So yeah, it just kind of makes me feel sad for those people, but it also makes me feel very appreciative of the National Health Service and mental health charities and things that we have in the UK. So yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on that one. Next, the UCLA Centre for Critical Internet Inquiry. Archewell Foundation is establishing the Archewell Foundation Fund for the UCLA Centre for Critical Internet Inquiry. Under the shared leadership of acclaimed researchers, professors and authors, Dr. Sophia Noble and Dr. Sarah T. Roberts. The fund will support the goals and overall mission of C2I2, is that another one of those tax things? Reimagining technology, championing racial and economic justice in the tech sector, and strengthening democracy through culture, making and public policy work. Okay, I am not even going to try to explain what they do because I literally have no idea. I really have no idea. So I'm interested to know what they do further. I need more time to kind of look at what they actually do, and also what level of involvement the Archewell Foundation is going to have with them. I think these are the ones that I heard about today where Archewell has made a donation financially towards helping with their research work. Again, we don't know how much of a donation that is, but it certainly shows the direction of which Archewell is kind of going in. So reimagining technology, championing racial and economic justice in the tech sector. Again, I do not know what that looks like. I don't know in practice the work that's being done behind the scenes. Some of you may know already what's going on. That one is a new one for me, so I will be very interested to have that on my radar so I can kind of see what they do. So I'm very interested in what they do with that. The final one, World Central Kitchen, we already know quite a lot about that. We know that Archewell Foundation has made financial pledges to the World Central Kitchen, which is going to do lots of work in areas of disaster with regards to mobile food units. So Archewell Foundation and chef Jose Andres, World Central Kitchen, by the way, he was in the Archewell podcast as well, recently announced a joint philanthropic partnership in service of healing families and strengthening local communities around the world. As the anchor to the partnership, Archewell Foundation will be providing the financial commitment for the World Central Kitchen to build 4 community relief centres in regions disproportionately impacted by hunger, starting in the Commonwealth country of Dominica and Puerto Rico. These centres will act as emergency service kitchens during times of high need or disaster, and as food distribution hubs, schools, clinics or safe community gathering zones during non-disaster times. So again, we know a lot more about that one. I'm a lot more aware about the work that they do. So I'm going to kind of go down and read some more comments. Let's see if I can kind of kick off where I went before. Nancy, happy New Year from the Philippines, says Lyle. Nancy says, it's really weird. I had the most wonderful dream that Harry and Meghan and Archie were vacationing and staying with me in my hometown just before this all came out. And Mary says, I am from Indiana, where it's much colder. And Irma says, it's so nice to see a community that is kind to Harry and Meghan. Thank you, and greetings from California. Greetings to you too. And again, lots of people saying Happy New Year. So, okay, I think I'm finished with that tab for now. So let's go back and click on the Archewell audio tab. So again, if you haven't listened to the podcast, go and check it out. It's only available on Spotify. Now, I need to address a few things from my last video. So in my last video, I listened to the Archewell audio podcast, the Holidays Christmas special, and I filmed myself watching it, and I kept kind of pausing and talking about what they were doing. A lot of people don't understand, I don't think, the YouTube rules. So on YouTube, you are not allowed to re-upload or redistribute someone else's work. That is against copyright. That is against, you could have legal action taken against you. That is wrong. The way that lots of YouTubers kind of get around that, so to speak, is to do lots and lots of cutting in and out so that the entire piece, basically, you can't do something where someone doesn't need to go to the original source to get the full product, so to speak. So there are people there on YouTube that have literally republished, re-uploaded the whole thing. Some people have changed the pitch to try and avoid detection. Some people have just not cared and just literally re-uploaded the podcast. You should not listen to the podcast on YouTube. You should not be able to listen to it in full or even in part on YouTube. That is not allowed. I have worked within the rules and the law of YouTube. You are allowed to play little tiny snippets and talk about it. That is okay for review and critique. My video was a review and critique of and a reaction to it. You were not going to ever be able to listen to the full version on this channel because I am not going to do that. If you want to listen to the full podcast, you need to go to Spotify. You need to go through the correct channels. You need to register with Spotify and listen to it that way. All these other YouTube channels that are re-uploading the whole thing are wrong. They could be taken down. Their whole channel could be taken down. So if you see a video like that, report it, because it shouldn't be that way. Anyway, so kind of rant over. That's why I did the video in the way that I did. I want to see what people are saying about that. Nothing. So hopefully everyone is kind of understanding about all of that. So anyway, if you haven't seen the podcast, go listen to the podcast. There's lots of reports at the minute about how well it's doing. And of course, day by day, it's accumulating views. It didn't go straight in at #1 around the world. I did look on the spot when people started talking about what place in the charts it was in. I decided to have a look myself. I don't think it's gone to #1 in any country, but I'm just reading now the stats. There are 144 million subscribers on Spotify. There is probably over 1 million podcasts on Spotify. So to get to #1, you would have to have one hell of a lot of views. I don't know the viewing figures needed to reach #1. I think at the moment, is it Joe or Josh Rogan? He's #1 in many different countries. But if you kind of looked at all the different countries, I went through many of the main ones. Canada, I looked at India, America, the UK. It hasn't got to #1 in any of those countries yet, but it has been climbing up. I think in the UK it went in at number 17, and the press are making much fuss about it, about sleep sounds, whale noises being higher. But then since then, obviously, it's accumulated views and it's gone up. I think it's at number 6 or something like that now in the UK charts. It may have got up to something like number 7, but it's changing all the time is what I'm trying to say. So probably within the next few days is probably going to be the peak of where it will be for that particular holiday special. So lots of people are talking about chart positions, blah blah blah. But like I say, they change all the time. And to be honest, ever since people have been talking about the podcast, the viewers have gone up. So lots of people have gone on to kind of see what it's all about. So as they say, all publicity is good publicity, even the publicity where they're kind of not being very nice about it, it's still driving people to go and check out the podcast. So if you haven't seen it, do go check it out. So they sound on the website, Archewell Audio is the newly formed audio first production company started by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Archewell Audio will produce programming that uplifts and entertains audiences around the world under an exclusive partnership. Archewell Audio will join Spotify and their global reach of 144 million premium subscribers and 320 million monthly active users around the world to spotlight diverse perspectives and voices as part of the partnership. The Duke and Duchess will produce podcasts and shows that build community through shared experiences, powerful narratives, and universal values. The first podcast was 34 minutes long, or something of that nature. We don't know going forwards what the average duration of a podcast will be. We also don't know what the typical format will be. We know what we've got at the moment was classed as a holiday special, so were things done differently than what's going to be intended for future episodes? We don't know. How many? How frequent? What is the frequency? Will it be weekly? Will it be fortnightly? Will it be monthly? Again, these are questions that we do not know. So let's go and see what people are saying in the comment section. Maddie says, sadly, Spotify isn't available in my country, so couldn't hear. I could hear it through Steps of Sussex. Well, you can only hear like a tiny smidgen through mine. But no, I agree. It's not fair if Spotify is not available in other countries, but you should still go through the correct channels to listen to it. Anything else is kind of bootleg. It's not right. These other channels are making a lot of money by literally reproducing the entire podcast. Basically, they're undercutting Spotify, and they shouldn't be doing that, basically. Annie says, I think he left out his dad, so the trolls won't say again they're abusing the royal connection. Well, now they're saying that he's leaving his dad out because there's beef, I would imagine. So, I think it's up to them, but it probably would have been best not to open it that way at all. But anyway, that's entirely up to them. Maddie says, podcast ranking and ranking in media in general is very superficial. It doesn't speak of the podcast quality. No, it most certainly does not. And Maddie says also, what about your opinion about media obsessing over Archie and privacy? Are you referring to the Christmas card? I did speak about the Christmas card in my live chat after my Christmas card video that I did. And I did make a humongous point of saying it is up to the parents. It's up to the individual parents what they do with their own child's privacy. And unfortunately, when it comes to Harry and Meghan, they are high-profile parents. So whatever decision they make over Archie's privacy is going to have people that agree and is going to have people that disagree. And those people are going to voice their opinions, and a lot of it is going to be conflicting. Ultimately, it only matters what Harry and Meghan want, but it is going to be, because they are so publicly well known and there is a lot of interest in them, it's going to be talked about. So my stance, my position on it is, it's up to them. What they wish to do is entirely up to them. But it's going to be discussed. It's going to be talked about. That's just the way it is. It's not like, I mean, let's just say I had children and I wanted to put out a Christmas card with their faces on my social media, on my own private social medias. No one cares. Like, literally no one cares. But if I was famous, if I was at the level of fame of Harry and Meghan, and if I had connections to the British royal family, which is, again, connected to, the British parliamentary system, for example, it would be slightly different. It would come under what I did, what actions I took, would have a lot more scrutiny. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying that's the way it is. So my position is, it's up to them. What they decide to do, however they wish to share the privacy of Archie, if they want to obscure his face one day and the next time show it in full, that's up to them. But it's going to cause conversation. In terms of the Christmas card, I think by obscuring his face via the in the way they did, either with it being a filter or, as people are now saying, they think it was an actual watercolor of an original photo that was taken by Doria. Which one it is, I'm not entirely sure. But I think by kind of obscuring his face in that way, it's caused more conversation than if they'd just shown his face anyway, which would still have caused conversation. But I think by obscuring it, it actually has caused more conversation. But anyway, it's entirely up to them, and that's my whole point, is it's entirely up to them how they decide to do it. Hannah says, I want more Archie's voice. He did sound really sweet. Maddie says they started to talk about Archie talking on the podcast and them using him for profit. Again, it's entirely up to them, but whatever they do is going to be talked about, basically. Nancy says, you are doing such an awesome job. I really appreciate you and your efforts. Thank you so much. And Mimi says, Harry and Meghan, you should visit the Philippines soon enough and have a base there to work with the communities there. There are lots of places in the world that need help, that need relief. Maybe World Central Kitchen might get to the Philippines at some point. Right, let me move on, because I think there is more to look at. I think I've still got one more tab to do. Archewell Productions. Let's click on that one, and then I think we're done with the website, actually. Right, it's just loading up. So Archewell Productions, I'm now on the Archewell Productions page, was created by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to produce programming, this must be the Netflix, that informs, elevates and inspires through its creative partnership with Netflix, the world's leading streaming entertainment service with more than 195 million members. Wow, that's huge. Archewell Productions will utilise the power of storytelling to embrace our shared humanity and duty to truth through a compassionate lens. So there we go. We hear the word compassionate again, and we already know that things are already kind of gearing up to be being produced. Whether they've started work on the actual production of things at the moment, I don't know. I've heard talk about there being maybe like some kind of animation or cartoon project in the works, something for kids. Don't know how far ahead or advanced they are with that. Don't have any details at the moment. As soon as I do, I will of course let you know, talk about it, share my thoughts on it. But yeah, the power of storytelling to embrace our shared humanity and duty to truth through a compassionate lens. So again, the word compassion being key and being part of all of this. Hannah says they cannot please everybody, just stick to what they think is right. And I think that's probably what they're going to do. And if we go back to the front page, let me just kind of see if I can click on it to go back. If we go back to a letter for 2021, we talk, where did I see it? I saw it somewhere. I'm going to have to read it. I'm going to have to put these on just to see if I can see it again. I thought I saw something that... here we go. Together we can choose courage, healing and connection. That is something I have been speaking about on this channel for, a month or more now, because I was definitely getting vibes from Harry and Meghan in the things that they were kind of releasing. One thing that was key with them was the word healing. I've said before that they wanted, that they are in a healing process at the moment, and that lots of outside noise, lots of outside interference does not help, especially when on social media people are being uncompassionate, unkind. And I'm not just talking about the people that dislike Harry and Meghan. Some of the people that are real supporters of Harry and Meghan are also being unkind and uncompassionate to others. At the moment, Harry and Meghan, most definitely, I was right, they have signalled that they want to heal. They are in a healing phase. They are in a healing phase with everything that's going on, with the world, with families, more than likely, behind the scenes. And it doesn't help when people are just being unkind, unhelpful, and they're doing it on a digital platform. So basically, a lot of supporters of Harry and Meghan are doing exactly the opposite of what Harry and Meghan want them to do. Harry and Meghan want the internet to be a kinder place, a more compassionate place. And, you know, some people that say that they really support Harry and Meghan are being exactly the opposite of what they want. They're being unkind, they're being uncompassionate. Again, I'm not just talking about people that support Harry and Meghan. We also see lots of hate from the other side as well. But like I say, I'm highlighting the word healing. We should all be healing. And you know, you know that on my channel I have never wanted to be one side. This isn't a hate channel. This also isn't, you know, a fan channel where they can do no wrong. This is very, very much a royal watching channel. And at the moment, what I'm getting from what Harry and Meghan want is healing. They want compassion. They want a better digital world. And we all need to ask ourselves, the things that we watch, the things that we interact with, the people we interact with, are they really, really doing what Harry and Meghan want them to do? Are they being healing? Are they being compassionate? Are they being kind? Are they showing truth in a digital world? Ask yourselves that, and you may get answers. Right. Jamara Rodriguez says, well said, we need to be more kind to each other. We do indeed. Right, I'm trying to find a comment. Sean says, so excited for the Sussex's future. They aren't even going back to royal life with so much potential like this. Oh, you've jogged my memory. The year in review. So, as we know, Harry and Meghan left the royal family as working royals formally the end of March, and there was going to be a 1-year review. Now, the one thing that at the end of March people didn't really anticipate was coronavirus. Coronavirus has kind of put lots of projects back, and Harry and Meghan's Archewell launch was no different. The only reason we're getting the launch now instead of earlier was because things were kind of put back because of coronavirus. However, in the intervening period, Harry and Meghan have struck lots of big money, multi-year deals. And I stress multi-year, which kind of has indicated to me for a long time that Harry and Meghan do not have any intentions of coming back to the UK and being part of the working royal family. I'm not saying they aren't going to come back to the UK in terms of being involved with projects in the UK or being involved with their patronages or charities, of which they still hold in the UK. But in terms of becoming basically reversing their decision to move away from the royal family, that's not going to happen. So there's been lots of conversation about this year in review. Do the royal family want to extend it? Do Harry and Meghan want to extend it? And I think the answer is pretty simple and right before our eyes. It is in nobody's interest to extend this year in review. It's not in the royal family's interest. It's not in Harry and Meghan's interest. Harry and Meghan have already, they've already shown that by signing a multi-year deal, which obviously is more than one, it's 1 or 2 or maybe 3, or it's a multi-year deal with Spotify and Netflix. They set up their Archewell non-profit organisation. They are not coming back. So I don't think Harry and Meghan would want an extension. What benefit would they have of having an extension? Does it make sense? The royal family, it doesn't make any sense that they would want to keep them on this kind of, oh, well, might they come back? Might they not come back? It's in the royal family's interest to get this done, you know, almost like getting Brexit done. It's in their interest to just finalise things and, you know, wish them well and see them on their way, basically. In terms of what could be decided with Harry's royal affiliations, because of course there have been certain positions that have been kind of kept on hold, that haven't been filled whilst Harry's been away. I don't think it's in those military appointments in particular. I don't think it's in their interest to kind of have like a figurehead that's not that's not there. So I think the year in review will be very much a decision on what happens going forwards with perhaps titles, styles. Have Harry and Meghan acted within the values of Her Majesty the Queen? That, I think, will be the big topic of conversation at the year in review. But I don't see a point in extending it. It doesn't do anybody any good. It's in the royal family's best interest to just draw a line under them leaving, and wish them well, and discuss whether or not the use of titles and HRHs, blah blah blah. But that is up to them. That is up to how they think, everything's gone, or what direction it's going in. Harry and Meghan, most definitely, with the website, with the charities that they have chosen to support, the organisations, they have set a very clear message of what areas they are going to go into. Will that be compatible with holding a HRH in the views of not only the monarchy, but also the British government, who I think are going to also have a bit of a say in what happens at this year of review. But ultimately, I don't think there is going to be an extension. I would be very surprised if there would be an extension. The only possible thing that I can see as a route for extension would be coronavirus, in just saying, well, let's give them an extra 6 months, give them an extra year to see how things go. But it's all immaterial because they have signed a multi-year deal worth millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. They aren't coming back, so it doesn't make any point in extending it for anyone, from both sides, from the royal family side, from Harry and Meghan's side. Why would you extend it? So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but those are my thoughts on that. Let's have a little look and see what people are saying. Christine says they have cut out a new role for themselves. They have. Mercury Angel says, I also remember Diana shutting down the media on their holidays, something I never saw any royals do to protect their children. So publicly, something that must resonate now with Harry having a child. Diana courted media attention. She did tip off journalists about where she was going to be at certain times so they could get photographs. When it came to her children, she was very protective, and I think the scene you're on about was when she was skiing. I think she was very much kind of, get out of my face, we're on a private holiday. But there are also occasions, for example, when Diana was invited over the Christmas New Year period, and she took William and Harry to, I think it was Richard Branson's Necker Island, and she struck a deal with the media at the time, who found out where they'd gone. They hired boats. They took the boats out so they could get long lens photographs of the boys. And Diana made an agreement with the media that they could take photographs, and she would come out for 10 minutes, and that they could take photographs, paparazzi style photographs, with her permission. And that's what they did. She wore, an amazing swimming costume. Harry and William were out there playing. The media got their pictures. They then pretty much left them alone. So Diana did deals to kind of placate the press, which is probably something that isn't being discussed. But Diana was one for knowing how to work the press. She knew how much to give them, and then obviously when to, as you said, when to shut it down. So Diana was a very complex figure. Many different sides to Diana. Maddie says, I agree with you. I don't like it when people go after the Cambridges and others. I know it's frustrating since so much of media and so-called royalists go after Harry and Meghan, but you need to rise above it. Yes. Sean says their Spotify podcast was a massive success, trending at 1 in which countries? I looked last night, and they were not number one in the countries I looked at. They weren't number one in the UK, the US, India. I even looked at Philippines just to see if they were there. Canada, they weren't number one. Let me know which countries, and I will go and check that out. Right, I'm going to kind of go down a little bit more. Let's have a look. Maddie says it seems the media tabloids that is obsessed with the year review and trying to convince everyone that it's the ultimate clash or war. Again, yeah, I agree. I don't think it is. I think it's just a case of just finalising things, basically. Kathy says, here in the US, if a certain traits or actions are observed by others, a common statement is, you are your mother's son. Or perhaps it was always said of me, you are your father's daughter. Yeah, I've heard it before. It was just... why choose that to open it up? I think it's going to cause a lot of conversation. Kathy says, I say that with pride, not to discount my mother, but I am more like my father than my mother. And Sean says, what? Oh, I've read that one. Oh, no, I haven't. Sean says, what will happen at the 1 year review if Harry and Meghan give up their titles completely? Then what will the media talk about? Will they have no reason to talk about the successes? Will be interesting. I think if they didn't have the HRH, it would mean that you couldn't criticise them for capitalising so much on the royal family name. However, cast your minds back to, was it earlier this year? I forget, where Peter Phillips, again, the Queen's eldest grandchild, doesn't have a title, doesn't have a HRH, doesn't have a dukedom or an earldom, or he's not even a lord or anything of that nature. He still got criticised for advertising milk. So no, you still have to be careful about how you do things. So the criticism probably would still be there, but it would have less legitimacy, if you get what I mean. So we'll see. And again, no one knows if they're going to lose any titles or HRHs. I think it will be up for discussion. Marilyn says, Harry never wanted the year probation period. Well, we don't know that. All we know is he agreed to it. So if he didn't want it, I'm sure he could have just broken free. As if you remember back when they launched their website, as it was sussexroyal.com, and it had their list of intentions, Harry could have just walked away at that moment. But as he discovered, it wasn't as simple as that. There were lots of things to discuss, lots of things to talk about. And one of the things that he agreed to was to, looked like to see how things would pan out, to see how things would go, to see how he and Meghan may feel in a year's time, to see if what they wanted to happen was going to happen. So it's difficult to say whether he wanted it or not, but what we can say is he agreed to it. And that is obviously what is now playing out. We're coming up to the point where, it will soon be the start of April. I know we've only just getting into January, but it will soon be upon us, and we will have to wait and see what goes on. Let's have a look. Sean said Harry admitted that he originally wanted to leave the royal family in 2015, but stuck around because the Queen and Charles asked him to. Where have you seen that? Because I haven't seen that. I haven't seen anything where he has specifically said that he stuck around because the Queen and Charles asked him to. Again, let me know where did you hear that from? I would like to see it myself. Marilyn says the opening was a beautiful statement, nothing negative about it. And Velva says, I think that no matter what they do, good, bad, or individual, there will be a conversation piece. Yes, I agree, there will always be a conversational piece because Harry was born a prince of the UK and there will always be interest in Harry here in the UK. Mercury Angel says, Harry found someone who gave him the support and courage to leave the royal family. Finally have someone in his corner for life. Yeah, I agree. It was a very good match. Kathy says, I believe Harry had a more difficult time with Diana's loss than William had just because of their age. I wouldn't say he had a more difficult time. I would say it was different. I think you're right. I think age would come into it. Harry, obviously being younger, was less mature than what William was, purely because of age. Also, take into account that they are two different personality types. They are both very, very different. I think Harry is more, perhaps more emotional. I think he has kind of more emotional needs, perhaps, than what William does. But I don't think it means that William found it more difficult, just that Harry found it more difficult just because perhaps he doesn't display his emotions or wear his emotions on his sleeves as much. And I think that's what we're kind of dealing with more. It's more that they have different personalities, different ways of dealing with things. But yeah, I mean, definitely losing a mother at an earlier age, Harry would have looked at it through a different lens, perhaps, than William, just, you know, a couple of years older. Marilyn says, I don't believe that once Harry and Meghan left the island, they were ever going back, therefore no need for a year review. I mean, I agree. I don't think they were ever planning on coming back in terms of rejoining the working royal family. Amber says, why aren't other royal families attacked, hunted and gossiped about like the British royal family are? It's very unfair for one family to bear. Because the British royal family are the most well known in the world. And that is the case. You know, why else? Why else? Also, press culture as well, I think, plays a big part in that. I mean, let's put it this way. If I said to you, the Queen, I mean, some people might say, well, Beyonce, Madonna. I'm not talking about those kinds of queens. I'm talking about queens. If I said to you, who is the most famous queen in the world? Hello, am I back? Am I back? Hello? Right. Right, I'm sorry about that. I had a technological issue. So, I had an incoming call, and of course I streamed from my phone, and it completely messed up the whole thing. So I have no idea what I was saying when it cut off. So can someone please remind me what I was saying before it cut off? And then I will resume from what I was talking about. I don't know how long before it cut off. Christine says, but they did say at the first they were going to split their time between the UK and North America. They did. And then Corona happened. So I think a lot of the reasons why we haven't seen them back in the UK is because of travel restrictions and different restrictions in the US and the UK. I think it has made international travel a lot more difficult. But we do have things coming up in 2021, of which Harry and Meghan and Archie most certainly would be welcome. Family occasions. We have Prince Philip's 100th birthday. Trooping in the Colour, obviously, is a family occasion, not a formal occasion. So they could come to that. We have the unveiling of the Diana statue, with which William and Harry have both been equally involved in. So there are occasions for them to come back next year, as long as travel and everything is okay to do so. Michael Smith says, will Harry be Captain General? That position has remained vacant up until this year in review. No, I said 100th birthday. So, again, we don't know. Personally, I think they may make a clean break, and perhaps those positions will be filled elsewhere. But we will see. We will see how it goes. Right, there we go. I think I'm going to end today's chat here. Let's hope we don't have any more technological issues. How long have I been talking for? Oh, over an hour. We've had a really good catch up. So the only thing left for me to do today is just to sum up on the website. Again, I think it's a really good introduction into the work they are going to do in the future. Obviously, we will see a lot more from them in 2021. Hopefully, things will be better. They'll be able to launch more things, attend more engagements with the different patronages and charities that they are now becoming involved with through Archewell. We will wait and see what comes up with this year in review. We will wait and see how frequently we get podcasts. And of course, we eagerly await the work they are going to produce for Netflix. All that's left for me to say is Happy New Year, wherever you are, whatever restrictions you have in place. Just try and enjoy yourself. Try and have the best time that you can possibly have. So, from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all, and Happy New Year!